Hi BookTube, it's Amy. I thought I would do a quick Friday reads here. Got my coffee just to the edge of the shot here. And the main book I wanted to talk about was the one that I was reading last night, and that is Packing My Library by Alberto Manguel. The dust jacket is around here somewhere. Here it is. Packing My Library, Alberto Manguel. And it's just this short collection of essays or chapters, if you will, on the act of packing up his library to move away from France. He doesn't get into the exact details, but I get the indication that there was some sort of trouble with his visa or his ability to keep living in France. And so at 70 years old, he found himself packing up the library that he hoped he wouldn't have to pack up again, and putting it into storage and leaving it behind for a time. And he just walks us through his experience with libraries and books and what they mean to him, as well as a few digressions about various topics that are related to his library and to books, but also definitely separate from the main narrative of the chapters. And I thought I would open this up here and maybe read a bit from it to you. And so when he begins, he says, my last library was in France, housed in an old stone presbytery south of the Loire Valley, in a quiet village of fewer than 10 houses. My partner and I chose the place because next to the house itself was a barn, partly torn down centuries ago, large enough to accommodate my library, which had grown to 35,000 books. And I've got all sorts of notes in here. You can see my progress as I go with some sticky note tabs. Here on page 7, Borges observed in an early essay that a translation can be understood as equivalent to a draft, and that the only difference between a translation and an early version of a text is merely chronological, not hierarchical. Where the draft precedes the original, the translation follows it. To suppose that any recombination of elements is necessarily inferior to its original, wrote Borges, is to suppose that draft 9 is necessarily inferior to draft H, since there can be nothing but drafts. The concept of a definitive text belongs only to religion or to fatigue. And so I like that bit on translations. My libraries are each a sort of multi-layered autobiography, every book holding the moment at which I read it for the first time, the scribbles in the margins, the occasional date on the flyleaf, the faded bus ticket marking a page for a reason today mysterious, all attempts to remind me of who I was then. Like a greedy looter, I want the books I read to be mine. Perhaps that is why I'm not comfortable in a virtual library. You cannot truly possess a ghost, though the ghost can possess you. The day I left my library in France for the last time, I felt desperately unhappy, and waves of remembered lines about revenge and rage and despair came hammering in my head as if the library were opening its books to me in a friendly final gesture. Because if every library is autobiographical, its packing up seems to have something of a self-obituary. Perhaps these questions are the true subject of this elegy. And that's about as far as I got. I'm on page 86 here with about a third to a quarter of the book to go. And I'm hoping to finish this one later today. And that's all I'll talk about for now. just to pop in, let you know that's what I'm reading. I posted a review, a discussion video on Simone de Beauvoir's novel Inseparable, the new translation in English. The book is in English for the first time, so the translation in English that just came out this year. So if you want to check that out, you can do so. Anyway, I hope you all have a great Friday.